So for the blocking in portion of this project, here's what I'm really looking for. I'm looking for you to develop a basic color palette and not have a lot of detail. Maybe start developing what your font choices are going to be and think about that. I think that's something that should be in there. You might as well have all of your text so that you can figure out what the hierarchy is. And I'll admit that this little fake poster I've made here doesn't have like stuff like cost and those things, but I wanted to at least have enough hierarchy so that we could see the bands, we could see the dates, we could see what the title of the event was. So that's kind of the color blocking and the blocking that I'm asking for. I wanted to kind of walk you through this real fast. If we look at this in outline mode, let me just flip this over, Command Y. You can see that all I really did was dump in a couple of different shapes here and put them on top of each other and then fiddle around with that type a bit. So if we were to, kind of do the same thing on this one, let's just kind of walk through that. I'll make a new layer, and for this I'll just go ahead and draw out a rectangle for this first part. This will just be the background. And I'm going to just press Command Y or Control Y just to hide that. And then I'm going to get out the pencil tool. The pencil tool, if you are looking for it, it's in with the shaper tool. And the pencil tool is handy for doing just kind of quick things that don't require a lot of precision. So all I'm going to do here with the pencil is kind of start on one edge and follow along with kind of this mountainside that I drew. And then I'm going to come down and just swing around and come back up. All right, so really straightforward for that. There's kind of a second part here where there's some darker foreground, so I'm going to Control click so that that is no longer selected, and I'm going to come in and just kind of lay in that foreground. I guess it's more of a midground here, and just kind of put that in, and again just kind of coming down, knowing that the architecture down at the bottom is going to cover that up. There are some little snow fields and stuff up in the hills, so why don't I put a couple of those in. So again, I'm just going to start, and you'll notice that my pencil, when I'm drawing something new, it has a little asterisk by it. And let me zoom in here so you can see. And when I'm coming up over something that's selected, you'll notice that asterisk goes away. So this allows you to do some editing. So if I decide, oh, you know what, I want to add to this, I come up until that pencil changes to no asterisk, and if I draw down along here and come back, notice what it did. It added to that existing item. So sometimes you don't want it to do that. You're going to be close by and you're going to want to draw in another direction. If that's the case, hold down Control so that you can click and deselect, or Command on the Mac, deselect, and then start drawing again. If I draw now, you'll notice I get just a second item, right? By the way, it's smoothing and stuff just based off of some of the options. If we come over here, let's look at those options. So I'm just going to double click, and fidelity has to do with how many points it's going to make. So if I want it to be more accurate as I'm drawing those strokes, just slide it a little bit that way. Notice there's keep selected. And you can also tell it to edit selected paths. That's where you saw as I moved over a path, it started editing it. And you can choose how close you want that to be. Maybe you want that to be a little tighter so that you wouldn't accidentally click on it so much. So I'll go ahead and say OK to this. But let me jump back here a bit and just kind of continue on my way. So all I'm really doing here is trying to get in just some rough ideas of what the design's going to look look like, right? So I'm just kind of coming up here. Then one of the other things that is going on, there's some tree line down here. So let's just kind of knock in the tree line and get that. And again, I'm just kind of swinging down and around, knowing that it's going to get covered by this architecture. And then finally the architecture, I think I'll use the pen tool for that just because it's going to be faster. So again, let me click away so nothing's selected, and just kind of follow along here. And again, just close it up. You can be real sloppy once you get outside the borders here. And let's finish that. And I'll move this point out just a little bit. Cool. Now, if we preview this, it's going to look terrible right now. There's nothing there, right? So I need to go in and choose those different colors. So I can do this a variety of ways. If I click, I can select these different parts. Let's do it in outline mode though. So in outline mode, what I'm going to do, let me select these different parts. So there's the outside sky color. Now since I have a sky I like, I could do that. Or what I did is over here I have a photograph that has a lot of the colors that I like. And actually that's how I built this, is I just went from these and I selected the eyedropper tool and just selected a color. So for example, I just clicked there. You'll notice it changed it blue. That's cool, but let's come back here a little bit. I want to just see what's going on with these. So if I click on some of these different paths, you'll notice right now it's filled and stroked with nothing. So let's just give it a fill, just so that it has something. Doesn't matter what it is right now. I just kind of want to have each of these items with a fill. So let me click away. In fact, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to just select all of these. And let's just give it one fill. I'm going to try something. I have no idea if it's going to work. So for right now, I'm just going to press Command or Control Y. Notice that everything is filled blue now. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just select all of this. And I'm going to try this out. Again, no idea if this is going to work. There's this great button in here that says Recolor. So far when I've used it with a variety of at least different shades. But let's just try it with everything colored blue. I'm just interested to see if it does anything with this. So I have that colored blue, and I'm going to choose color theme. And I just want to see, I'm going to choose over here that photograph. And so that's kind of what I feared. It just switched everything because they were all selected that way. So let me just show you what I did before. So I'll just select each one of these, and then for the eyedropper, I can choose that. Let me pick here's the mountain range, and let me zoom in just a little bit so we can see these a little better. There's the mountains. Here's kind of that darker color down below, and I just held down Control. You can see it grabs that color. Let's get the kind of tree colors. And you can see, depending on how close you are, it picks those different colors. And then finally, kind of this cabin color. And there you go. And again, you could fiddle around with this a little bit, but that is a fast way to block in your artwork. And then if you're looking at it and thinking, you know, I need to get some better things happening here. So for instance, these two colors, even though they're different hues, they're very similar in their luminosity. So if you squint your vision, you'll notice that those two colors blur together pretty closely. So if you want, what you can do, let me first of all just adjust this a little. It's bugging me that this is so far down. One thing we could do now that I've made that basic panel is let's try that edit colors idea again, but this time let's use that feature where we can choose from a photograph. So I'm choosing Recolor, and this time let's color theme. Let's come over and let's see what it does if I pick that. So there's that color theme. I don't really like the way that turned out. Let's try it one more time, but this time you can click and drag across. Well, that's not what I wanted either, sorry. Let's try it one more time. Guess I'm going to need to come back a little bit. So again, I'm scrolling down, and this is a new feature with 2021. So I'm just choosing Recolor, color theme, and this time what I'm going to do, let me click and drag around a little marquee. Yeah, so you can see that sometimes it gives you some colors that you like, depending on what you're choosing there, and sometimes it doesn't. Let's try another. There's another one. This is picking up the browns that are dominant here. Here's one that has some browns. Oh, that's kind of nice. That's nicer. It's a little warm. Obviously, the trees down here are a little bit of a mess. You can adjust which things, how the color gets used, right? As I drag this around, I can make the other colors more prominent and some of the colors less prominent. There we go. Let's start with that, and then you can always finish manually, right? So I can come down here, select the trees, and then just pick a color that's, more of a happy tree color, right? So pick something like that. So there you go. There's multiple ways that you can do this. But the idea here is that you rough it in, and when you're roughing in the colors, you're just blocking it in. In the next video, I'm going to show how to clean that up just a little bit, just so that we can deal with some typographic stuff. All right.